Hello and welcome to New Filmmakers Los Angeles. My name is Danny De Lillo. I'm delighted to be joined by Emory with their movie Bind. Let's take a look at a clip.
What's this?
Sports bra?
Shema.
Emory, this is so great to have you here. I'm so delighted. I loved your film. Thank you for bringing your film to us at New Filmmakers. I can't believe I felt so much in such a short space of time. Tell us, for those that haven't seen it, a brief synopsis of Bind.
Definitely, thank you for having me. So Bind is about our main protagonist, our protagonist Jules, and they get a surprise visit from their mother and their chest binder. And then just to give a little bit more information, I sometimes like to call it like a glimpse into the trans Taiwanese diaspora and kind of the intersections between culture, gender, and adolescence.
That is a great tagline. I love that. I love that. keep that. Again, you know, so many of our community in the BTQ plus community, we all, you know, have these very difficult conversations with our family, right? And, you know, I love always seeing it from new perspectives where I learn things being part of the community and other people learn things and we're educated. And it was so real and and you kept it so simple, but it was just a true human moment in time, you know, between, you know, two people that love each other and trying to explain, you know, how they feel and what they are and who they are. For you personally, where did the inspiration come for you to say, I want to turn this into a film?
Yeah, thank you for that. I feel like the seed for the idea for this film kind of came back from when I was kind of doing some research for an Asian American Studies class I was taking at UCLA as an undergrad. And I was looking at primarily documentary films about both the queer and the trans Asian experience. And I noticed there wasn't too much films about those topics within the scripted realm. It was more so in the unscripted realm, especially for like the trans Asian experience. So I kind of, when I had the opportunity to make this short film as a student film, and it's my first scripted film I've created. I
believe that, Emory.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Me too. I can't believe it. How it turned out is really great. But yeah, I really wanted to, I had the intention to hopefully create something to kind of fill in the gaps of what was kind of missing in terms of queer and trans Asian representation in film. And so that kind of was guiding me. And at the same time, actually right before I had started film school where I made this film Bind in my first term there, I had like the incredible opportunity to be a production fellow, a trans filmmaking fellow on the feature documentary film Disclosure.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was really great. And it was a very affirming experience. And I kind of really took away about kind of standing my ground and seeking specifically trans actors to play trans roles. And so that was something I really wanted to kind of a guiding principle onto this film and being able to work with trans actors to share trans stories as well.
I love that New Filmmakers also had a member of the cast in Disclosure, and you were both in the same program. That's so cool. I love it. Just
Candace
families coming together. I love it, and I think it's so amazing because aside from something that's interesting to you as a person, I think it's so great when you can put a film out there that can educate and inspire others as well. Was that something that was kind of in your underlining of thinking, is that you hope this film would be able to just, you know, maybe help other families, maybe be an inspiration, maybe help educate people on the lack of education for what one goes through? Is that something that you had in mind when you were making this?
Definitely. I did want to hopefully, even though it's a very short film, I was hoping like through watching it, I would want like an audience member to take away like even though it might take kind of years in the film for Jules and their parent to come to like a hope of understanding, kind of like I hope people can come away wanting to kind of narrow that time to understand one another. And at the same time, in the educational aspect, I kind of wanted to also kind of portray the experience of body dysphoria. So like kind of how I set up the film in the beginning with like kind of the canted shots of the
Yeah.
sculptures. I really want to try to like kind of how do I cinematically explore this feeling, this experience of body dysphoria, which is unique to the trans experience. So that was also something I wanted to see how we could pull that off. So I worked pretty closely with my DP on this, on really focusing on kind of canted angles and using the handheld camera and lots of close-up shots.
Don't worry, Emory, you definitely pulled it off, for sure. Almost the sense that I feel you have a certain style already, which is glimmering through, and certainly in the way that you are articulating, you know, your words and how you want your films to be and to look. I think, you know, it's very exciting, particularly when you're in your first films of your life and, you know, you're already kind of delving into these scopes, which is great. For you personally, what was the biggest challenge you had in this particular project in mind?
I think there were a couple different challenges. As a student film, we had like a very short time to make this film. But on top of that, I think that the casting process I spoke a little bit about earlier was definitely challenging because I think we had about two weeks to put out the casting notice and to cast. So it was I was really worried about finding like a trans Asian character, and I had received some doubts from others of whether or not I'd be able to find someone. But actually, it was really exciting that I was able to kind of share the casting call with other people in my community, and they shared it with others, and eventually just another student from school came in and showed up at the audition. It was really nice. Like I never had direct contact with them. They didn't see the casting call on a casting website or anything. So it was just really exciting. They came in and they nailed the audition. So it was cool.
Yeah, no, it's so very exciting. What is it like, you know, because obviously this is, you know, again, you know, a student film, and so we know that you're going to be doing many more films, you know, moving forward. What is it like to have something that you've worked on that is important to you, to have it out there at film festivals? It was certainly great having the film at NewFilmmakers Los Angeles. Like, what is that feeling like putting it out there?
It's a little scary to kind of have like put your work out there and kind of like I don't know, because it's kind of having your personal vision and voice kind of tied into the film, but just being able to share it with others and hearing how other people experienced watching it and how some people related to their personal experience, or others it's just they kind of really felt and connected with the family dynamic. It's just very powerful and very I don't know, it's very validating to know kind of the hard work and the struggles kind
Yeah.
of paid off.
Well, I'm so glad that you created this story, because I always say I think it's so important that, you know, sometimes it's not even just for our community or people in our area. There may be people on the other side of the world that will see this film and be like, I am seen, or I'm learning, or I found out something new, or I know someone who's going through that. Like, is that something that you hope to have, you know, obviously not just with this film, but also with some of your future work as well?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like a lot of different struggles are connected, even though this is through a specific lens. But yeah, I do hope to kind of across cultures, across countries, especially kind of drawing inspiration for my own work. I'm kind of starting more to look at kind of filmmakers from outside the U.S., other countries, especially more like experimental and kind of uh, niche artists as well.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think just kind of gathering a lot of influences and kind of how do I incorporate it into my own work? Because since I'm still in the early stages as a filmmaker, I feel like I'm still working on developing my artistic voice and vision.
Yeah, and hope that will never change and it will keep evolving as well, you know.
Definitely, yeah.
As a, you know, as a student filmmaker and soon to be going in the big wide world as well. Do you have any advice for any filmmakers out there that you kind of learned up till now, or maybe something that a mentor has told you? Is there anything that you could share with us?
I feel like in terms of like some things I've learned from mentors and kind of since my primary background is in documentary, and in documentary, like these questions are like in terms of the ethics of documentary filmmaking, some of the primary questions are like, are you the right person to tell this story? Why are you the right person to tell this story? I feel like those kind of questions can similarly be applied to like scripted work. So for me, like when I made Bind, I think since I wasn't sure if I was going to how soon I would make another scripted work after. So I was really intentional about like, why am I the person to make this story?
Yeah.
Why does this story need to be heard?
Yeah.
Especially since you're spending so much time working on the project, you need a way to stay motivated and committed. And if I think your answers to those two questions are very strong and intentional. I think you always feel a sense of being centered throughout the process.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I think that's a very important point in the sense that, you know, you really have to have someone that can really identify with the story that's being told, at least have people around you that you can talk to relate to what you were seeing on the screen. And for so long, we haven't seen that. And I'm so glad you brought up that point, because I think it's a major part of how we need to shift and change our industry that we're in. So I love that you said that. What is next for you, Emory?
Oh, next, I took a brief hiatus, but I should be getting back to working on the post process of a documentary short film.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of leaning into experimental, some kind of trying some more experimental stuff. But it's a artist profile meets gender transition film of a young artist carrying a heavy burden.
Ooh, oh, you, you, you always have very intriguing taglines and headlines, so I'm excited for this next. Well, thank you, Emory. I am so happy that you brought this film to us. Please keep making more films, please. We need more of your artistic vision, but thank you for joining us today, and welcome to the New Filmmakers family. We'll never let you go.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. It was a really good experience.